Stay inside and die. Go outside and fight for your life. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
That sounds in like metalcore songs or like A Day to Remember when all the vocal or when all the instruments drop out.
And it's just a
Like
breakdown right
that's
after.
the line he screams. Yeah.
I can't even. That's just.
I'm fully on board for a derailed themed metalcore band. Welcome to episode 83 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
You forget your name.
No, I was like, as I was saying it, I was like, I feel like I was gonna do a joke this week, and as I was saying it, I was like, I don't remember.
Was it Nathaniel?
Probably that's what it was.
Nathaniel.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I can't even say mine actually. So let's just.
We're here and sort of alive. That's all that matters.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm living in the hypercube. Nothing makes sense.
Now I have like metalcore songs stuck in my head.
So
So thanks for that.
This week we are discussing the From Autumn to Ashes discography.
Okay, I hadn't listened to From Autumn to Ashes in like quite a mo, but their like first like 2 or 3 albums I love so much.
They're all good.
So
I don't
That
think I've
used to-
ever listened to them.
I was gonna say I'm not even gonna ask Kit.
yeah. And then I was like talking to somebody last night about North Star, which like everyone should go listen to North Star.
Same, I agree. So we're talking about 2018's
They're not metalcore,
dash
by the way.
railed. Derailed.
I wish it was actually titled like D-Railed.
It might as well be.
Oh.
I don't understand why it's titled the way it is.
I don't either, actually.
Like
This should be the name of like the porno version of it.
at the bare minimum, they could have at
Derailed.
least been like, it's the D train or something, instead of the M
Yeah.
train for murder.
M-railed.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe I don't know. The only thing I can think of is so that like people, it would be like set apart.
Spoilers for this movie, just because I have it in my notes. Also, spoilers. I don't know how the fuck we're gonna talk about it because my notes are nonsense. I didn't get a single name of the 850 characters in this movie.
Okay, I have everyone's
Literally
name,
painful.
but this movie, first of all, pissed me off for a reason that's really stupid. The first couple times when I'm
Isn't
taking
that
notes for a
this
movie, I'll
isn't
like,
really stupid.
well, yes, but because like the first two, when I'm taking notes, the first couple times I'll like write out the people's names so that I'll remember them, and then after that I'll put just like the first initial. But this movie, like in the group of like 5 main characters, 4 of them share the same. So there's like 2 A names, 2 E names. I'm like, you motherfuckers. So now my notes are just all blah, blah, blah.
So
Everyone in this film is named Alan.
it's all just Eugene. So I picked this movie because I was like, oh, like the synopsis of it sounds good. It's quote unquote stars Lance Henriksen.
Bullshit.
I don't know
I'm so mad.
how he has top billing in this movie for the 2.5 minutes of screen time he has.
I actually like by the so
And hold on, and the most lazy acting I've ever seen him do in a movie.
Oh my god.
He's like,
Yeah.
oh, that was Evelyn? Let me walk you to this train. Here's the story about a train derailing. Like, that's his delivery for the entire thing.
Happy Halloween. You're in for a scream. Yeah, like he shows up in the very beginning for like literally 2 seconds. And then you get and then I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I laughed because like one of you had joked that he's gonna be in the movie for like 2 seconds and that's it. And that's like literally what happened until, you know, obviously the very end. But I was just like,
Where he gets
shows up
20
for
more seconds.
yeah, another like 30 seconds.
he like really did not even have to be in this movie, to be honest with you.
No,
Like,
he's in this movie for the exact reason that we watched this movie, was that you see Lance Henriksen and you're like, oh, this is a Lance Henriksen movie, I'll watch this.
well, I kept watching and also thinking that maybe I just like was misremembering what he looked like, and I was like, is that him? And I was like, no, that isn't, because I just like for real expected him to be a part of this movie, but he wasn't, so it's fine.
We got suckered.
Yeah.
And I'm mad about.
Like, so okay, so I took in my notes. So this movie is an hour and 20 minutes. Is it a movie that like the description is like a train derails and like, you know, they can't get out of the car that's like floating in this lake because there's like monsters in the lake or whatever.
Horse shit.
Hour and 20 minutes, 33 minutes in before the train derails. Let's see, where's the other one?
And then I got out of the train pretty quick.
Yeah, 48 minutes until a fucking monster shows up.
Yeah, I was very like the way that this movie starts. I actually, besides the fact that the acting was like not the best for a lot of the characters, the beginning part of the movie I actually really liked, like when they're like on the train and like whatever, and I was like, okay, like I know there's like monsters in this, like how does this happen? And then I was like, this movie is like pretty normal. How are we even gonna like talk about this? And then it really goes off the rails.
That's the
no
thing,
pun intended. But
I think if the description didn't give away that there was like monsters or whatever in this movie, and it just kind of started off where you're just like, oh, like it's like a weird murder mystery, and then like all of a sudden the train, like, I don't know. I think if I watched this with no idea of what the plot was based on the description giving away the entire thing, basically, like I think I would have enjoyed it more, because it would have had that like kind of twist to it. But then it was just like everything, like the beginning just takes so long to introduce all these characters that die off almost like immediately. Like half the characters die like 5 minutes after they're introduced. And
I'd say like before the monster even shows up,
yeah,
like half of the people are eliminated.
Yeah, also, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I found myself thinking that if I didn't know it crashed into a lake or like whatever, that I would have liked it more. But then also, they make it seem like the the point of this movie is that they are in a boxcar in a lake trying to survive. And then that part lasts like 2 seconds. And by the time that they get out of the boxcar, I'm like, how is there still like half of the movie left? Like, what is there even to happen? And then my other issue with it is that there's just like way too many quote unquote like plot twists. Like they tried to, like, I don't know. By the time we got to the end, I was like, oh Jesus Christ. Like
as soon as like I put together what was happening at the end, I was like, my notes are all in capital letters, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
My very last note
Everything
is spoiler. God damn it, Ghost Train.
Everything about this film was misleading. Like, synopsis-wise, having Lance Henriksen, it's all lies. And I don't like it.
I honestly, I feel like I would have liked it more if the ending wasn't like this dumb twist ending.
I agree.
They could have cut off everything at, like, she should have just got to like the train tracks and just walked off, and it could have been like the end of the movie.
Yeah, I don't like. There's like the beginning of this movie, like I was fine with. I thought like the murder mystery part like lasted a little bit long, obviously, but like once the train actually derailed, like, and the monster shows up, it totally lost me. I was like, oh my God, like what is even happening? But then there's a scene like sort of like after a little bit that like really won me back, that I was like, okay, all right. And then the ending, I was like, you lost me again.
Well,
So it like
like the monsters at least look cool, and like the effects are all pretty decent. So like once that shit started happening, I was kind of like more engaged. But it's like, again, like it takes 33 minutes for anything with like for the train to derail. So it's just like these murder mystery actors for 33 minutes just delivering dialogue that doesn't fucking matter to like
also it's like
anything.
they spent so much time like with the characters, and I still didn't care about like any of them.
No,
It
not
was
at
like,
all.
who the fuck
Yeah.
cares?
Like the entire time I was just like, well, number one, I again don't have anyone's names. Like, so it didn't even matter. I was just like, I didn't even bother to like figure out what any of these people's names were to like, you know, I didn't care enough to like.
Yeah, it
figure
doesn't.
out.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
The only I have two sort of names in here where I have knock
Half
off
of a name.
the guy that like starts to rob the train as knockoff Pacey from Dawson's Creek.
I wrote bowler hat. I don't even know what his name was. I just wrote bowler hat.
And then
I think it was Doofus.
I have thanks to Caitlin, I have knockoff Will Forte.
Oh my god, yes, Thomas. I was gonna say the other thing about this movie that was like weird to me is that they had a lot of people that looked like other people. So that guy, and then also I thought Eugene reminded me of the guy from 30 Rock.
Kenneth.
Yeah, he reminded me of Kenneth. And then the main character, Evelyn, sort of reminded me of
Is she really a main character other than that she's the one that survives, sort of?
Yeah, I mean, because like I think so. I feel like for me, she was the main character. She reminded me of Jennifer Lawrence.
Is she the one at the beginning that like sees has like the weird like It Chapter 2 fucking Chinese restaurant table scene?
Yeah. That's like another thing that I don't understand, like why these people, like, because her and then the little girl Abigail, they both have like weird premonitions, and I'm like, why? Like, what's with that?
It makes sense, I guess, because when you find out they're ghosts, but like, it also doesn't. It like
Spoiler
it doesn't.
alert.
It doesn't. I don't even know if we should even fucking talk about like this movie in order, because it just doesn't fucking matter. Like the first 33 minutes, my notes are murder mystery train on Halloween. Some people talking about drinks. Grumpy guy bumps into them. Bunch of people waiting to board train. Like it's.
Well, and then they do like this like sort of double fake out at this point, because they're like, there's like a whole bunch of like setup which literally doesn't mean anything except for that they can show Lance Hendrickson, I feel like, because then there's like a group of kids.
Allegedly.
Right.
I feel like it's probably another lookalike.
I think
it's
they just literally just like got the rights to use his image, and they just like CGI'd him into the movie.
Listen, judging by the CGI of like the train in the water, the CGI in this movie was not very good. I didn't think.
I didn't like bump into anything that I noticed, but
it's like, yeah, so there's like a group of kids, like one of them is a cat girl, and they're talking about how cool a murder mystery train is, which it is very cool. I would love to do a murder mystery train.
This podcast is over.
And then, I don't think I could actually do it though, because like that kind of shit would make me so anxious. I don't think I can deal with it.
I will make you a promise that on your 40th birthday, I will go to a murder mystery train with you if you dress up like Matlock.
Okay, that's a deal.
And I'll dress up as like Zach Morris from the murder mystery episode of that one where he's got like a fucking suit jacket that doesn't fit him.
Okay.
It's on record now. Now we have to do it if we're all alive. And
I'm down. Yeah. So it's just like this cat girl sees the group of the people. I wrote old-timey people, and then you get this like sort of fake out that you're like, oh my god, are these like old-timey ghosts that already died? And then they're like, where are the passengers? And you're like, oh, they're not. And then spoiler, they were. Like, I'm just like, come on.
If these are all ghosts, how did this fucking dude bump into these people? Like, Shouldn't he just fade like the fucking grumpy dude that like tells the story at the beginning?
Okay, so his name is the host. He died. He was the one that got stabbed. So he is also a ghost.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if he's a ghost, how did he bump into these fucking kids, like, waiting to get on, or, you know, like, wow, this train sounds like the most fun ever, which no teenager says ever.
About anything.
Except Katie.
Yeah, right. Because he's a poltergeist.
No, okay.
Makes sense. Solved it. Done.
Yeah, and then it's just like...
I don't know what this note means. But I just put, this dildo has done this 15 times now.
Okay, it's
oh
Eugene.
God, fuck that guy. I hate that guy so much.
Eugene sells makeup, and he travels across the United States on murder trains because his company sells like stage makeup and shit. But yeah, he's like, I've been on 15 murder trains, and I always know who done it. And I'm like, well, you fucking didn't this time, did you, idiot?
Stupid fucking moron, Eugene.
But yeah, there's just like, oh, and he is obnoxious from the beginning. And it's just like so much setup of like meeting these people and finding out their like backstories but you're just like, who the fuck cares? Like
my favorite line of this whole movie is when the host is just like, says whatever, he's like, the M train, and the little girl's like, oh, the murder train. Like, thanks for pointing that out to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're just like...
One of my notes just says, monologue man dies.
The host. Yeah, so it's just like, that's... Okay, first of all, so they get on the train, and they get served dinner. And this is where you get the thing we were talking about where Evelyn thinks she sees like a cockroach on her plate. There's not really a cockroach. And then she's like, excuse me, there was a cockroach. And the lady's like, oh my God, gross, sorry. Like, I'll bring you a new dinner. And then she picks up the plate and there's like a shit ton of cockroaches. And you get...
BT Dubs, the only black person in this movie, is a waiter.
Yeah. Yeah. And... yeah, because they show the like quote unquote servants like setting up the table, and I think they are too. But like there's all this like weird stuff with like Thomas, who is the dude,
the Will
and
Forte.
Yes, Will Forte, and Evelyn.
The dude.
I mean, like in this group of people,
Jeff Bridges is in this movie.
Dude abides.
Pretty cool. Where he's just like, I don't know, all the backstory is really stupid. She thinks she sees like a bunch of cockroaches, and then they're like, what the hell? And she's like, it's fine. And then that's when like the host comes in and he like gives a speech, and for some reason he just like knows all this like weird stuff about them. Like
all the stuff with the bugs though, like by the time you get to the end and you get to like the reveal that they're ghosts, like I forgot this shit happened.
But also it's like, it's hard to tell if we are seeing... I think they're not ghosts yet. I think that we are seeing what actually happened to them, and then at the end we just realize that they're like reliving it, I guess.
But then
I don't know.
What would the fucking bugs be? And like the girl still had blood on her arm.
That's why I'm saying like I don't understand why... Because like not only does she have like the blood on her arm, but you get a glimpse of like the monster out of her window, and that's why I'm like, I don't understand why they have like... If they're not ghosts yet, why are they having like premonitions?
This movie is dumb.
Yes.
Yeah, because like then also...
Oh, I take it back. My favorite line in this movie is, open your mouth again and I'll blast your teeth out. Also from the porn version of Derailed.
Wow. Gross. Yeah. Oh, what I did like about this is that like, so the host is like, I know you, your brother's dead, your parents don't love you, and like all this shit. And then he's like, we're about to like start the show, and like he knows Boulder Hat Guy. He's like, so like that's why I don't... Oh, because, okay, so then he's like, yeah, I hope you will find the truth. And then he gets like stabbed in the back, and the cast starts like acting. They're like, oh my goodness, what happened? Did you guys see what happened? And it's like,
I
he's
genuinely
actually
couldn't
dead.
tell if these people were supposed to be like fake acting, or if this was like if they just legitimately didn't know what was happening, because it's all like they all act that way the whole movie, or the like 12 minutes they're in this movie.
If it was intentional, if they did this on purpose, like if they were like, okay, in this scene, like I want you to overact because like we don't want people to know if this is real or not, then I commend them, because their acting was terrible. And this dude's like legit dead, and they're just like, oh my heavens. Like he like I guess
someone's done him a stabbing.
I mean, I guess technically maybe like in this kind of situation, does the cast know who like I don't know. I've never done anything like this, so I don't know if the cast knows. But so yeah, so basically, and then like the conductor is just like, oh goodness gracious, I'm just gonna drag this body away, and I'm like, okay.
So one of my notes was specifically as they're talking about this scene where it's just everyone pointing guns at each other like The Office.
Yes.
So and because, like all of the accents like just reminded me of like Steve Carell did, like, well, I do declare.
It reminded me of that too, because like one of them, when they were reading the description of the train, it was like murder, mystery, and mayhem, and I was like, it reminds me of, what was it, bourbon, bullets, and
yes,
something like that. So yeah, that's like literally what it was. But then like, so the who I called the Boulder Hat guy, it's just like
Pacey from Dawson's Creek.
I've never watched.
I haven't either.
He does not look like.
Yes, he
what's
does.
that guy's real name?
No, it's like Joshua something. He
Joshua Dawson.
Yes, Joshua Dawson.
Everyone's last name is Dawson.
Yeah, they're Creek.
They all own the Creek.
He's basically just like, I like this part because he's like, show's over, I have a gun. And I wrote that in quotes, so I think he actually said that. And then the conductor comes in from dragging a body out of the car with like a bottle of wine. It's just like, what's going on? And I was like, oh my god. Does he think that the guy's not actually dead? Like, he's like, we have a doctor. They do not have a doctor. So I guess he thought that it was like pretend also. I don't know.
I feel like they came up with the idea for the twist, but just didn't do the like.
Think about the rest of the movie.
Yeah, they didn't do like enough of the groundwork, because like so basically this whole scene like just turns into like a robbery. And,
right. So,
but like, so if these are all ghosts from like 1920 whatever, because it was, I think at the end of the movie they say it was,
I think it was like 1929 or something.
Yeah, they said it was like 96 years ago. This movie was released in 2018, so just to figure out the math. But
1922,
when Will Forte pulls out a gun, he's got a current gun, like he's got like a Glock. So like, because like the fucking Pacey from Dawson's Creek has this like fucking long barrel like pistol or whatever, and like I don't know, it's like, so like none of the groundwork to lay out that these are all, or to make it even make sense. Like,
I need you to add that into the goofs.
Huh? What?
The goofs on IMDb where it's like, it is 1980 and he had a calculator watch.
I was like, was I supposed to be like saving things for like a goof episode? What's happening? Spoiler.
Also,
Every
if you could tell me the model of the train.
I've had like a couple people be like, I want to hear the outtakes, and I'm like, you just want to hear us complaining about how we hate our lives like for like 10 minutes before we record.
There's like no outtakes, first of all. I feel like barely anything gets cut, and the one thing, I always mean to say this, but the one thing that I think is, like, there's a lot of podcasts where you listen to them and it's like very obvious that like somebody has written a script beforehand, and so they like know what they're gonna say and they do funny voices to each other. This is like not scripted at all. None of us know what anyone's gonna say. Like, it is all the goofs.
Yeah, like we'll usually like text each other a couple things while someone's watching the movie, especially if it's like an extra stupid movie. Like I woke up to you guys both watching it or at the same time and being like, "What the fuck is this movie?"
Yeah. And I really try not to give my reactions to things because like I want us all to have like genuine conversations about it without knowing, but like goodness, you guys.
I mean, periodically, like Kit and I will just text each other and just be like, "This is one of the worst movies I've ever watched," and that's about like it.
Can we do like let me look through my notes and see if there's anything. Basically, like I also don't really understand that like okay, so Bowler Hat is gonna rob the train, and it turns out that one of the flapper girls is like his girlfriend, and they're in on it together.
Knock off
and they
Kristen Wiig.
Yes. And they want to like steal valuables. And like literally the only reason that they're like on this train is because one of the ladies was um was like bragging that her earrings were like real pearls or some shit. So that's why they decided to rob the train, which like to be fair, a lot of those people were wearing like their like mother's pearls, and the main character Evelyn has like a mirror necklace or something, and I'm like, all right, I mean, that's fine. I guess I don't really know how much money that you get for any of that stuff, but there's like I did like this like back and forth though, because the lady who they're trying to like steal from is basically just like, "Ah, Gigi, you were always trash." And I was just like, jeez. Somebody got shot at some point. There was a bunch of slapping, and then you're just like, there was just so much setup on this train, and I'm like, what? And then I think they end up shooting Catherine in the head, which was pretty cool. And Thomas, Will Forte, is basically just like, "Hey, don't worry, I'll help you," which like somehow turns into everybody like blaming him for what happened, and I'm like, how was any of this his fault? He was just trying to like not get everybody shot.
I did like when the fucking bowler hat guy goes to like get them to like stop the train. Like he goes into like, you know, a fucking room where they're just shoveling coal because it's the 20s.
Right.
And like when he like I like the idea of that he shot in that tiny room and the bullet just ricocheted and just like killed everybody.
Yeah, this whole scene, I just was like, one guy hits Boulder with a shovel in the neck and everyone gets shot and dies.
Yeah.
Before they could stop the train. And then like my other thing is like the conductor is just like very calmly like, "Hey, like we're coming up to this curve and like we need to slow down." And Gigi, who is the one that's like holding them up, is just like, "I don't believe you. You're just trying to trick me." And then the conductor's just like, "Well, all right."
Well, just
dude, like there was no urgency. He was just like, "Well, you know, we're probably gonna die. Like we need to go into the back of the train. See ya." And I was like, okay.
He was thinking about crashing the train on that curve, like, anyway.
Yeah,
They're just like, all right, well.
I hate my life. I hate these fucking murder mystery dinners. Like,
done with stupid murder trains.
Because also he's the conductor and he's just like drinking the whole time. So,
so the train crashes, or like basically, so somehow the entire train derails, but only one of the cars makes it into the water, which luckily has all of our main characters in it.
I also don't really understand like how, because like you find out that the train is in the lake, but it's like half of it is still sticking up and they're just like floating there. I'm like, how?
Yeah, it's just like it's slowly filling, like when you see like a, you know, like a boat in a movie, like a big cruise ship or something that's like slowly just kind of like capsizing and filling with water.
But it looked like the way that.
But then it's like all of a sudden it just sinks at like.
Well, because it also too, like the half that's in the water looked like it was like fucked up. It was just like open. Maybe I just I don't know. The set of them being like on the car in the lake was like kind of weird to me.
I didn't. I didn't understand what this car, like, I don't know. It's because, like, the car they're in looks all, like, nice and fancy, and then all of a sudden they, like, derail, and they're just in this, like, Matchbox fucking...
Yeah. It's like a plywood.
Yeah, like, the dude, like, at some point gets, like, an axe to, like, cut his way out, and it takes, like, 2 swings, and the whole fucking, like, wall of this train is gone.
Yeah.
Fucking
I called him
cardboard.
Mustache, but then he pretty quickly takes off his fake mustache. So I was like, God damn it.
My note is Will Forte being blamed for train derailing, then punched a bunch.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, okay, so basically, like, they wake up, everybody is like fucked up, they're like bleeding from the head, Eugene is pinned down, and they're like trying to find, the main character is just like screaming, we need a light, we need a light. I'm like, shut the fuck up, like, it's fine, they'll find one if there is one. So the mustache guy finds a lantern, and then he's like, so the guy who gets shot originally, I think, like, passes out, and he's like, Mustache, it's your responsibility to save us now. And I'm like, why? First of all, why?
Yeah, why
like,
is this dude that
guy?
nobody's fucking even bothered paying attention to until, like, just now?
And he's supposed to, like, save them. And then that's when he's like blaming Will Forte and is like calling him a piece of shit and like punching him a lot. And I'm like, what? Did I miss something? Like, how is this his fault? Like, he didn't rob the like, what is happening? And then, like,
is it supposed to be hinted at that, like, him and the guy's name was like Ray, the guy that's like dying?
Ray, yeah.
Were they like a couple?
No, because, like, when he jumps out of the cart, he kisses
that's right,
Lucy, who
so
is
like,
Evelyn's friend.
Why is this guy so, like, I mean, I guess they're like friends, but, like, he, like, fucking loses it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and then they're basically just like, oh yeah, we have to work together. And then this is when you finally get the idea that there's a monster, because we get the subtitle of chittering. And I was like, oh yeah,
Okay.
motherfucking chitters.
So
that rules. More monsters should chitter, in my opinion.
Now that we're at the monsters, I think they look good, but that's only because they literally look like the monsters and humanoids from the deep, but with giant jaws.
They've got like the big toothy face, like outer jaw that is totally pointless.
Yes.
And then like in a head inside of that with a mouth.
But
so
it rules. Like, the giant outer jaw rules for a scene coming up.
yeah,
yes.
And like the scene that we're gonna get to is like literally when I texted like, okay, this movie redeemed itself. But when I first saw the monster, I just like started laughing because I was just like, okay, so basically, oh yeah, so you said Mustache like uses an axe to like bust out the door. Then he's like, I think I see land, and there's like this excruciatingly long back and forth about, well, how far is the land? Well, we don't want to swim because maybe there's not land there. And I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
They're like, how many yards is it? I don't know, 50, 100. Well, how far is it? I don't know, maybe like 75.
Yeah.
Well, so
how
like
many meters is that?
100 yards. So like a football field. Like, it's fucking crazy.
And then they're like, well, we don't want to start swimming if there's nothing there. Like, and then Abigail, the little girl, is like, I can swim real good. And then Antonia is like, no, like, yeah, you can swim really well, but I'm not letting you swim. I'm like, who the fuck cares? Who cares about swimming? So basically, like, Matthew, like, jumps in and, like, okay, the parts where they're in the water are so freaking weird because Matthew like jumps in there and he's just like, oh, hey, first of all, they're like, where is he? And then finally he surfaces and then he's like, oh, there's something in the water. There's something in here. And then he gets like pulled down. And then Lucy is like screaming, of course. And then Matthew just like pops back up and it's just like, hey guys. And then Lucy and Evelyn are like, get out of the water. There's something in there. And he literally goes, oh, okay. And starts swimming towards the car again. I'm like, did you forget that something grabbed you? Like, what's happening here? And then he finally, like, gets grabbed. And then Abigail's like, oh, man, I saw something in the water. And Lucy's like, well, what was it? And Abigail's like, I don't know. And she's like, what do you mean you don't know? And I was like, what is happening? Their lines are just like so weird. And they're like, oh, Evelyn's like, everybody, we're gonna swim. And I'm like, did you not just see what happened? Somebody got grabbed. Like, no, you're not gonna go swimming. But then like, um, oh, this is where I wrote, okay, so like Ray wakes up and he's just like, hey guys, like what's happening? And then I wrote, Ray gets grabbed by a dude with throat teeth, kind of like a B version of Venom. It like literally looks like Venom if he was like in a B movie.
I don't know. I like the way they monsters look, but they like at least they're like practical effects.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I do not like. I did not care for their CG.
I like when I forget which woman it is, but she gets like ripped apart.
Oh,
she's like she's getting like pulled out and like her arm gets ripped off and shit. And...
yeah, her arm just pops up, and Evelyn's like, oh,
like an action figure, just like, boop.
Like literally. Oh yeah, and then Evelyn gets grabbed by the monster. I just kept writing
grabbing.
I kept writing dude because like it's very obviously a guy in a suit gets grabbed, but Will Forte shoots it because he has a gun again, I guess. And then like, so here's my other question: is it monsters or is it just that one monster? Because like he gets shot and then he disappears long enough for like Abigail and Antonia, who's like her caregiver or whatever, and Evelyn to just like jump off into the water and like swim away.
I assume there's more than one. I'm just assuming they only had like one suit.
Yeah, I thought it was like two, but
like,
okay.
Maybe it's just one very busy monster.
I literally I feel like I looked away from the screen for maybe 20 seconds to take a note, and then I looked back up and all of a sudden they were just like on land. I was like, what the fuck happened? Did I just like fall into like a weird like wormhole?
Okay, so this part's like really weird too because like so the three girls like jump into the water and are trying to like swim, and then that's when the train like sinks and it has Will Forte and Eugene inside. And then so Evelyn is like swimming and she's like, oh my god, it's sinking. And the monster like grabs her and like literally tries to just like drown her, like if you were like horse playing with somebody in the water and you were like trying to just like push them under the water. And then Antonia like jumps on it and they're like slapping at it and then it just like swims away and they're like, we're safe. And I was like, okay, this monster is not very scary because she literally like splashed water in its face and it like let them go. And
water, the thing that it lives in.
I feel like we just need to reiterate that it took 33 minutes for the train to derail, and then like maybe 15 minutes later, like they're out of this fucking train and they're just like
they're out of the train already.
Yeah.
It's been a very long time trying to figure out how far away land is, okay?
Yeah.
Which turns out
10 of those 15 minutes is trying to figure out how long 100 yards is.
They get to the shore like very quickly, in my opinion.
And then like Antonio or whatever, Antonia is just like, I don't know, I guess I'm just gonna sacrifice myself to this monster. It seems like the right thing to do.
Yeah, okay, so like this is like another one of those like fake outs where they're all on the shore and they're like, oh, I guess Eugene and Thomas didn't make it. Spoiler, both Eugene and Thomas make it. And then they just escaped a water monster and Abigail's literally sitting with her like legs in the water. And I was like, you fucking idiot.
My note is these three women made it to land, ? Oh, also Eugene. Oh, also Will Forte.
Yeah. And that's like drawn out. So then Abigail's just like sitting there by the water like, oh goodness, that was frightful. And she gets grabbed. And then she like, yeah, and Antonia's just like, I love you. Bye. And then they all just like, she just like sacrifices herself and then they all run away. And I was like, that doesn't really seem necessary. Like, and the monster's like, ah.
That was not a chitter. You need to chitter better.
He was like, oh, dang.
Then they all go to what I can only assume was a sardine packing plant.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, they find a abandoned house, question mark, or something. I don't know what this building is.
It's like an abandoned warehouse that for some reason has one shelf with about 50 cans of like sardine tins. and the keys to them to open them.
I think that Will Forte is like, oh, it looks like no one's been here in a very long time. And Evelyn's like, maybe there'll be a phone. And I was like, you idiot. Like, why would there be a working
Caitlin was watching
phone
it
here
at the same time, and she was like, where do they think they're going to find a phone in this fucking place?
Like, for real. Yeah, okay, and then I wrote...
Put enough fish together, enough of the sardines together, you can make a phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little known fact.
Just life hack.
Okay. And, like, for some reason, I didn't get the impression that the monster could, like, come out of the water. So at this point, I'm like, why are they still scared? Because there's, like, this whole weird, like, sultry back and forth between, like, Evelyn. Okay, I guess the way that I would describe all of these characters, like Evelyn and Will Forte specifically, is that they're just, like, very angsty. Evelyn's like, how long are we going to run from the monster? And he's like, well, we can't run forever. But we have to make choices. We have to live with them. And I was like, what are you even talking about? Because we don't find out anything about their backstories. Like, we have no idea what they're even alluding to.
My literal note for this is, WTF are these two talking about running forever?
Yeah, I wrote all out what I said, and then I wrote WTF on the side because, like, whatever made us think that this was a thing that was going to happen? Because then Evelyn's just like, oh yeah, and then Evelyn's like, I almost didn't come tonight, and then they're like, we have to live with our choices, and I'm like, all right, I mean, true, but what are you even talking about?
So
and it's just like,
we gotta talk about the best scene in this movie.
The
only
good scene.
Yes.
Where Eugene just, finds this bunch of sardine cans and decides to start eating some. Totally fucking normal. But
yeah,
I don't remember who, like, comes back into the room. They're like, where's Eugene at? And they come...
It's like Abigail interrupts their, like, weird, angsty, like, vague conversation. It's just like, is Eugene in here? And they're like, what?
Who?
What?
Oh, yeah, makeup guy.
They're as confused as the rest of us.
Yes.
Well, they walk back into the room, and Eugene, like, the sardine can is, like, on the ground or whatever. And they see, like, Eugene's head in the fucking mouth of this monster.
But not like the monster's eating it. It's like he's wearing the monster outfit without the inner mouth.
At this point, I was very confused as to what was happening, where I was like, did this dude, like, eat sardines and turn into a fucking monster? Like, is this gonna be, like, a twist of this movie that, like, something about, like, the fish in this fucking area? I don't know. And then, like, he just, like, the monster just, like, slowly bites down, and his head just, like, pops and then gets swallowed. It's fucking awesome.
And, like, my favorite thing is that, like, so the monster is, like, standing behind this, like, a shelf or something, and so at first they're just like, hey, Eugene, what's going on back there? And I'm like, really? Really?
Like, they can't fucking just, like, see the monster.
They can't. Yeah, right. But then I was like, yeah, we see Eugene's face or Eugene is inside the monster, and it bites down super sick. So that scene was very cool. I thought.
End of movie, because nothing else matters.
Nothing else cool happens.
Yeah, then it's just fucking some bullshit where they, like, go to hide in a basement, and Will Forte gets, like, risen up to heaven.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what was happening, because he, like, looks up and the monster looks like it's jumping down on him, but instead he gets, like, pulled up, and Abigail's just like, yikes.
Yeah, and then, like, the little kids just, like, they're, like, in the room, and she's just like, well, Antonia was right, you just have to, like, go with it or whatever, and just, like, fucking walks out and I guess gets eaten.
Yeah, okay, and this scene's, like, stupid too, because she's like, Antonia saw that monster and gave up, and I think we should too. So then when she, like, goes out there, she's just like, Also, Evelyn is like, does not care. She's like, no, wait, please don't. And just like sits there as Abigail just like walks out in front of the monster. And then she like wakes up and is like, oh, it's morning. And I'm like, wait, so is Abigail not dead?
Yeah,
but
I
Abigail
was like, oh, is this like a dream? And then she just looks over and like the little kid's not there. And I was like, God damn it.
Right.
And then she, like, basically she just fucking walks out of the building and just makes it to the train track and walks back to the train station.
Okay, but can we talk about how she's inside this room? It's like a basement and the door is shut so the monster can't get in there. But then when she goes outside, she literally just like pushes aside like a piece of plywood and it's just like outside. And I'm like, what the like what? How was she safe in there that whole time? Oh, I guess she wasn't, huh?
All stupid.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't know. She just fucking like you see her like walk through the woods and then she just like makes it to the train track and she's hearing like all this fucking voiceover reminiscing of lines from earlier in the movie about like
similar times.
I don't know. It's just her being like, gotta survive. It's just like shit about like, I don't know, just fucking bullshit. It doesn't matter. She makes it to the train track and just like follows it back to the train station where like some current day fucking teenager that's like apparently working there like sees her and brings her in for help, and she's just all like, Evelyn's like all fucked up, covered in blood, and like, well, covered is used loosely, but she brings her in and she starts like rambling about like this train derailing, and this like the lady working at the train station is just like, oh, what this bitch is talking about. So she like locks her in the room and goes to get like Lance Henriksen, who just comes in and is just like, who? Evelyn?
What's her name?
Follow me. And like, so like they go to like unlock the door or whatever, and while this is happening, like Evelyn like looks in a mirror and her eyes just get wide and she's just fucking gone. I don't know what that was all about.
Well, there was like a calendar behind her, and I think she like saw the reflection of the calendar because I saw her look at it. So I think she saw that it was like October, whatever year it was.
Oh my god. That's so stupid. And then Lance Henriksen just takes like this fucking lady that works at the train station and like some other dude that works there to the fucking train car that derailed, that they pulled out of the water and like refurbished and filled with
a museum now.
Yeah, it's just a museum now, and it's so stupid.
My favorite thing is like, okay, so he's like, oh, Evelyn Hyde, I know the story, but I probably can't tell it very well. And I'm like, you got that right. And then when they like go into the museum, he like the girl is like, well, what attacked them? Like, what was she running from? What happened? And he's just like, perhaps from death itself. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Like,
oh, I hate it so much.
So yeah, so it's like, obviously we said in the beginning of the episode that these people have been dead the whole time, I guess, like we find out, but this is where you find out that they're dead, because you see the picture of them and they're just like, their bodies were never found and we don't know why they were going so fast on the train. It's a mystery.
So,
oh, Jesus.
Do you think this woman, like Evelyn, always comes, like this just plays out like forever, like a purgatory thing?
I think so. I think that's what they were getting at.
So shouldn't they be used to this? Just like, fuck it, Evelyn's back, like...
Yeah, I mean, that's why, like, Lance Hendrickson was just like, oh, I know the story, but... So...
I'm just gonna barely tell it to you.
Maybe it's like... Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I assume that maybe it's like a... I don't know. Maybe it's like once a year. Who knows? I don't know.
But then a high turnover rate at the train station.
I think, yeah.
It's a new thing every year.
That's right. Because then, like, the host guy comes back and he just, like, looks at the picture. And then we see Evelyn getting on the train. Yeah. And then she just, like, looks at the camera and disappears. And I was just like, okay, yeah, we get it. She's a ghost.
Stupid.
You said that already.
So don't watch this movie.
I feel like literally, if they did not do this twist, I feel like it would have been like it wasn't a great movie, but I feel like it would have been better if they didn't do this weird twist.
Yeah, you could have cut out this whole ending and just added more shit with like people being attacked by the monster. Like
everyone dies like pretty fast.
Yeah, like I don't know. You could have had the train derail, had like just a couple more people be like survivors, and just added like some more like deaths from these creatures, and it would have been way more tolerable.
Just give me the Eugene scene like on repeat.
Right, yeah.
Or draw it out for like 15 more minutes.
Have more than one creature and have them like rip somebody in half or some shit. Like anything other than like LOL ghost train.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was dumb.
Oh, my arm popped off.
What you guys been watching while you're at home?
90 Day Fiance.
That's safe.
I'm mad about it.
The only good thing I've done since I'm not in quarantine is convince Kit to watch 90 Day Fiance.
I watched Onward, which is the most recent like Pixar or whatever movie. Is it Pixar or is it Disney?
I mean, Disney owns Pixar, so
they're like the same thing in my mind. And I loved it. I thought it was so good, and I feel sad that, I mean, the ratings were bad because like no one can leave their house, but it's it's like on video on demand or whatever. So I liked that, and then I finally watched WALL-E, which
I think WALL-E's like the only Pixar movie I've seen.
There's like only a few that I have not seen at this point, but I finally watched that one. And people are always like, "Oh my God, how have you not seen WALL-E?" And I will admit it was really good, and I feel sad that it took me so long to watch it. But other than little animated movies, obviously we already talked about the Cursed film on Shudder series.
I still need to watch that.
And they just released the 2 next episodes, which is The Omen and Poltergeist.
Fuck, Kit, new Jack.
Yes. God damn it.
Kit and I have both been watching, like, whenever they pop up on YouTube, the Dark Side of the Ring, which is very good. But that new Jack episode is fucked up.
Oh my God, it's fucking wild.
Like, I don't like.
It has the like Wolverine claws like stuffed in his jacket for no reason, and this dude's like, "I'm gonna start throwing real punches at this guy to try and get famous." New Jack's like, "All right, fuck you, dude," and just starts stabbing him in the middle of the ring.
Oh.
So like, Katie, you might.
Is this wrestling stuff? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like like they did a 2-parter on like the Chris Benoit like murder suicide thing. That's really good. And then I think.
Oh, okay. I've seen people tweeting about it, but I didn't know what it was.
So New Jack was a wrestler that like got his like notoriety from just being like extremely violent to the point where like he literally stabbed a dude in the ring.
Oh.
And it's so wild because like it's like most of the episodes are about people that like aren't alive anymore, but he's still alive, and his stories are fucking wild. Where he's just like, yeah, I just did a bunch of cocaine and went out there, and just this guy's got on my nerves, so I fucking threw him off a fucking 4th floor window or some shit, like.
Wow.
The like 70-year-old dude that he just is wailing on with a baseball bat.
Oh, it's so fucked
He's
up.
like, yeah, that dude told me he was gonna show me how to wrestle, and I didn't like that. So I got a bat and I hit him in the head a lot.
He's supposed to wrestle this 70-year-old dude whose entire gimmick is that he doesn't feel pain, but no one told New Jack that. Oh. So like when the guy's not selling his moves, New Jack gets pissed and just fucking wails on him, like hits him in the head at least like 4 times with a baseball bat.
A barbed wire baseball bat.
It's fucking insane.
Like, out in the crowd, like hurling him into chairs.
Wow. And it's like it's not even folding chairs. It was like those just stationary fucking like orange like cafeteria chairs it looked like.
Right.
It's
Jeez.
like he had a match with this guy who like I forget what happened, but like he like it was one of those it was like a match where they were like up in the air, like New Jack got thrown off wrong or something like that and like cracked a skull.
The scaffold match.
Yeah. And so like New Jack was just like, no, he's like, when I get better, he's like, I'm gonna kill this dude. Like, and so like they end up having like a match when he returns where they're like, do you know how high in the air it was, Kit?
It looked like it was probably 30 feet.
It's fucking
I enough for them to have stacked like 4 tables up, and then there was still another like 6 feet between the top table and them.
So he like he has this match with this guy that he's just like it's supposed to be like the return match of like, you know, whatever. New Jack doesn't tell anybody and he brings a taser. And they get up into this fucking scaffolding and he just tases the fuck out of this dude and throws him so far. Like he was trying to literally throw him so he missed the ring. It would have landed on the concrete. And like just barely misses. And the dude like misses the tables and just lands on the fucking ropes.
Oh.
And like they're like literally they're like it's a miracle that like he literally just had like some like contusions.
Yeah, he like broke his ankle, I think.
Yeah.
And that was it.
It's so
wow.
cool. But the beginning of it though, when he's like he's talking about when he first starts and he's like his first kind of big wrestling kind of promotion thing is in like the South. And he's like then like is during like the Rodney King riots and shit. So like their gimmick was like he was like I'm gonna steal like my look from like NWA and like gangster rap. And the entire gimmick was him just like pissing off the white people in the crowd. Where he was just like, if I did,
because it's in like Georgia, right?
Yeah, he was just like, if we weren't getting the N-word screamed at us, like we weren't doing our job. And he comes out at one point and is like, he's just like, OJ Simpson, I like what you're doing. He's like, that's 2 more off the street. Keep it up. And I was like, holy fuck.
No, oh my god.
So fucking
I had heard
crazy.
the other New Jack had done, but I had not heard that promo. they showed it on the episode, and I was like, oh shit.
I'm speechless.
It rules. I can't recommend the series enough. Like even like I feel like the Chris Benoit one got a lot of attention, but this New Jack one was way better for me.
Wild.
Yeah, I saw people tweeting about the other one, but not this the one that you're talking about.
I feel like the Chris Benoit one though was so like publicized that it's like I don't know. You kind of already like if you pay any attention to that stuff or were like watching wrestling at the time, you pretty much know a bunch of it. But this New Jack one was insane.
Jeez.
They
What
did
a wacky world.
This week's was on the Brawl for All, which was a tournament they decided to do where it was like the wrestlers would actually box and like shoot fight each other, and they would do 3 1-minute rounds, and the winner gets like $75,000. And it wound up with like half of the people involved getting seriously injured.
That was a WWE thing, right? I feel like I remember that. That's
When was it, like 97 or 98
yeah,
or
that
something?
was probably right as I feel like that was like right around the time I was like getting out of watching wrestling, or maybe it was like you know like where I was like, oh, I'm not gonna watch this anymore, or at least like yeah, like I stopped paying attention to fucking like WWE, WWF at the time, probably for reasons like that event.
Oh, it's so dumb. And hearing all the wrestlers be like, yeah, no, this was a terrible idea. Or like, after the fact, they're like, yeah, I was in a wheelchair for a couple weeks. Maybe that was the dumbest thing they've ever done.
Jeez.
I will say, to jump back to the New Jack one, like the best part of the entire thing is right before they have the like quote unquote like commercial break, when they're showing D'Lo Brown the fucking clip of him stabbing the dude and his like a reaction to it for seeing it the first time. Oh, it's
Look
so
on his
good.
face.
He's like, what? He's like, oh, he's like, well, New Jack just pulled out a knife. He's gonna like, like blade this dude or whatever. And then he's like, oh fuck, because New Jack like he pulls this knife out of like a cargo pocket and he just starts wailing on this dude's back with this knife.
Ooh.
Oh, it's so good. I think they're doing what Owen Hart is like the season finale. Or
7th,
whatever.
I think. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Knowing that like this is pretty much it's like because it doesn't seem like there's any involvement with like WWE at all, so I'm kind of like interested to hear the stories behind that because I remember that story happening like real vividly and how like it was pretty much just like covered up like pretty quickly. So
Yeah, they moved on past it. There's a couple of good deep dives by a David Dixon span on a like old Deadspin before it turned into dog shit, covering everything, and it is wild how negligent WWF was.
Oh yeah, it's a good series. I highly suggest watching that, especially if you're just fucking. They're like I think 40-minute episodes, something like that. It's
Yeah, something like that.
I understood all of that.
I think you would actually probably enjoy it even without knowing the kind of like characters behind it because it does have a very like true crime television show feel to it.
Yeah.
And especially like I think the first season had like an episode of like the Von Erichs who like four there's like like family of wrestlers where like 3 of the 4 sons died within like a year and a half of each other.
Yeah.
Under just like weird kind of crazy coincidence thing. It's good.
What is it? Where are you watching it?
YouTube. It's called
Oh, okay.
Dark Side of the Ring. I think Vice is producing it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. Katie, did you see like any news at all?
There's like some stuff, but the only thing that I really wanted to this week when this episode comes out will be the season 2 premiere of What We Do in the Shadows. So that's going to be the 15th, which is Wednesday. And if you have Hulu, I don't know if it's the same day or if it's the day after, but they're doing
Most
the
of the
simulcast
shows,
or
like,
whatever.
The early if they're doing a simulcast, maybe they may do it like as it airs, but usually like I think there's like an 8-hour at least difference between air and like when it hits Hulu.
Yeah, so you can watch that next week, which I am very, very excited about at this point because there's not a lot. Yeah.
All right.
And then I already said make sure people check out Shudder Cursed Films.
Oh yeah, I think I might watch that. No, I gotta watch fucking next week's movie tonight because I work the next 3 days. All right. Do you guys want to do some shout outs to anything you've been enjoying?
I watched Cat People yesterday, and Cat People is insane.
Nice.
If you want an insane, horny cat person movie,
Which who doesn't?
I mean, all cat people movies
Not
are
to be
horny.
confused
Apparently,
with
very
the
weird.
movie Cats, which is pretty much the same thing.
I think
but...
I'm gonna watch Cat People, Cats, and Sleepwalkers as a triple header, just for horny cat overload.
I back that.
Wow.
What about you, Katie?
This week I am enjoying one of my favorite seasonal items, which is a pistachio muffin. So leave us some muffin recipes. No, I like really all I've been doing still is like playing Animal Crossing, and then I plugged this like a couple episodes ago, but Grady Hendrix' new book came out, Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Came out yesterday or whatever. And I'm like a couple chapters in, and it's pretty interesting so far. And then yeah, so and also if you want an animated movie, watch Onward because I've already watched it like 3 times and I love it.
I'm gonna suggest 90 Day Fiance
No.
because it's the best / worst. And then there's a split that came out like 2 weeks ago. Bunch of like screamo hardcore bands. It's real good, called The Cold Promise of Uncertainty. It's released on Middleman Records on Bandcamp, and one of the bands features Ryan from Closer. It's real good. A band called Sanagi. I must suggest checking that out because it's real good. And also muffins. Muffins are good.
Muffins are
Yeah, I'll
so
back
good.
muffins.
Yeah, if you can go to a grocery store,
This-
go get some muffins.
This week we
Muffin it
stand muffins.
All right, next week we're doing
Can't even get it
a
out.
movie called Pigster.
Pigster.
I don't know what this is about,
Me
and
either.
I'm not gonna look it up. So this should be interesting.
I only saw the cover and it looked awful, which is why I suggested it.
I think we're gonna be joined by my friend Irene, because I was just like, if we're doing a movie called Pigster, we should definitely force someone else to watch this. I, like Katie said, I have not looked anything into it other than I remember, like, I put it in our list when Kit suggested it, like
Forever ago.
yeah, at the end of last year. So, be prepared for a movie called Pigster.
Be prepared, I
I
guess.
think it's on Prime.
I
Yeah.
thought so, but I haven't actually looked it up.
Yeah, I think it's on. I had to look it up to make sure. Also, there's a movie on Prime that I think you have to pay for called 90210 Shark Attack that I highly suggest everybody watch the trailer for because it looks extra stupid. And if it ever pops up for free, we are watching the shit out of it.
It sounds
Hell
amazing.
There is footage in it of like a woman that like morphs into a shark that is the worst thing I've ever
What?
seen.
So it's like literally the show 90210, but somebody turns into a shark.
I guess, I don't know, like Caitlin and I watched 47 Meters Down Uncaged. And then we got done with that and I was like, I'm gonna see what I just looked up the word shark and just looked through movies. And we came across like Jersey Shore Shark Attack on there. There's a 90210 Shark Attack, that fucking Shark Babes movie that fucking Jim Wynorski directed.
Jersey Shore Shark Attack has I can't remember if it's Joey or Lance from NSYNC.
Oh my
yeah,
god.
Joey Fatone's in it, and it's got one of the dudes from Jersey Shore. It's got Polly
Yep.
Walnuts from The Sopranos in it, because Caitlin made sure to point that out to me.
We need to watch that one.
I know Worst Horror Podcast did like a mini episode on it, but it's not free right now, and so,
Sad.
since pretty much neither of you are working, trying to just stick with free at the moment.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if I want to spend $5 on Jersey Shore Shark Attack.
No. No.
Also-
Probably not.
Katie, have you watched 47 Meters Down Uncaged?
No.
You should.
Why?
It's awful.
It's super terrible, and it's just infuriating how, like, literally every single thing that happens to them should have killed them instantly, but they're just like, oh, I'm good.
I usually like steer clear of movies that involve like being down in water and also sharks.
It's a
Unless it's a sci-fi movie.
it's a shark. It might as well be, honestly. The CGI in it is maybe worse than sci-fi shark movies.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll check it out then. I'm still holding out for Ouija Shark.
mean,
That's like on my list.
I think both. Like, I liked the first 47 Meters Down.
Same.
And I think they're both free on Prime, so if you get bored. But like the second one, I was like, okay, well, I like the first one. I'll watch this, and it's just like
Oh my
so
God,
much
so bad.
stupider. But
So
I also
stupid.
like was like, well, it's a shark movie, so still like 2.5 out of 5.
Wow.
Like the shark in it looks so stupid that I was like, I gotta give it points. This is good. And the fucking Mexican blind fish that just like so for some reason like sets off the entire movie.
Okay, so Ouija Shark is supposed to come out at the end of next month. And I'm even more excited because only 2 people on the entire cast have headshots.
Perfect.
So it's gonna be good.
All right. Well, we just said a bunch of shit that you should go watch. So if you're stuck at home, go watch it.
Yeah.
Especially 90 Day Fiance.
No, especially not.
Hard back. Watch 90 Day Fiance. Tweet at me at Gordon Scramsey. Let's talk about it because it is all I want to talk about anymore. You got opinions about Nicole and Azin? Let's go. Kit.
The worst.
Kit and I are gonna start a fucking side podcast of just 90 Day Fiance. Oh, it's so good. All right, leave us ratings and reviews. Tell us your views on 90 Day Fiance.
Leave us muffin recipes.
Yes, do both. Leave 2 reviews, one about muffins and one about your opinions on 59-year-old dudes that married 19-year-old women from the Philippines because they, quote, don't believe in divorce.
Don't leave your opinions if they're that it's cool.
Or if you do, leave us your real name so we know to avoid you. You can follow us on Twitter at IHopeYouSuffer and Instagram at IHopeYouSuffer Podcast. Go listen to Kit's other podcast, Riff Raff, or just the Toilet of Hell episodes in general. Joe, Jordan, and Breno did an episode on Veronica that is pretty fucking funny. They got to live out what we do every week for 1 week, and doesn't seem like they could handle it. So
I don't remember what the episode was, but I thought they released one afterwards, and he was like, "This is a happy episode because we can't." I'm like, "Yeah, every now and then you have to have one." After watching this kind of stuff,
I listened to it and I was like, these dudes couldn't handle Tsunami. Follow Katie at Werewolf Face, where you can get some Animal Crossing horror costumes.
That's true.
Any spoilers of what you're working on?
No.
All right.
No spoilers.
It's gonna be Lance Henriksen from Derailed.
It's the monster from Derailed.
Oh shit, that'd be amazing. And you could listen to my other podcast, Let Me Be Your Pot of Love. We released an episode this week, and we already have 2 other ones recorded, so you can look forward to me being angry about Flavor Flav for like 8 more episodes. Other than that, watch Pigster. Everybody should watch Pigster because it's gonna be good. I got a feeling. I got a feeling about it. It's gonna be good.
Quality film.
With a name.
I just don't even know what to expect, to be honest.
Scorsese style cinema. That's what.
I won't spoil what we're doing, but I've been looking at movies for May, and
Yeah.
I am fucking dreading May.
I am too.
Define
I
one.
haven't started looking yet, but I can imagine.
If we can't do the thing at the end of May, we have to find at least something we enjoy because May is gonna be rough.
Yeah.
All right.
We can just do Hot Rod again.
Yes. All right. I hope you suffer, but why?
Muffin.
Chittering.
Chittering sound.
Chittering meat shake.
Ooh. Keep forgetting
I
to
don't
throw
like
the
that.
meat shake in there.
Yeah, meat shake is alive and well.